It was like a moth or something that looked like it was a good couple of feet long. It was darkish, on a main road, saw a few normal moths fly past me, and as I turned my head watching them fly past I swear I saw this giant goddamn moth sat in the road. It was in the darkness between some street lights, and looks like it sort of flew off further into the dark. This happened when I was around 4. I was sitting on my grandparents' porch alone. There was a little piece of rubber sitting on the floor. Imagine a rubber circle that had been cut in half. I was completely sure that I had seen it stand up and walk away. I started screaming and crying, completely inconsolable. I remember this so vividly, but no one else was there to see it. I was watching a football game a couple of years ago, and in one of the shots where they panned over the crowd I saw a girl look straight at the camera and mouth my name. Scared the hell out of me, but when I rewinded it the seat was actually empty. I was out for a walk late one night. This was in rural Illinois, so there was nobody else out. I noticed from a distance that there were these squirrels just standing in the middle of the road. Thought to myself that this is strange. When I got closer I noticed there were 3 squirrels standing around a cat that was lying down. I thought for a minute the cat was dead, but when I got closer and walked past them, the squirrels and cat followed me with their eyes, none of them moving a muscle. It was look like, move it along, nothing to see here. I once saw a man in an Abraham Lincoln costume complete with top hat running for what seemed like his life along the street. I slowed down, and when he turned to look at me, he was missing an eye. I drove off and of course no one believes me. My dad swears he once saw 2 cats, a raccoon and a skunk all meet up in the middle of the street at night. When I was living in Missouri in 2012 or 2013, I was feeding my chickens when they started acting very strange and ran inside their coop. I looked up and I swear to God, I saw a pterodactyl. I watched it as it glided over my property, then my neighbors, then across a small valley, and until it was completely out of sight. There is no way it could have been anything else. As plain as day, it was a pterodactyl. I've had glasses since the 3rd grade. I was playing tackle football with friends after school. I wasn't wearing glasses. Tackled one of my friends. Really big collision. For a second I regained full eyesight. Then I blinked and it was gone again. One night I was sleeping at my grandparents' place. I woke up around 3 AM needing to pee. I raised my head slightly and looked at the base of the mattress I was lying on, and saw a gown just floating there near the wall, at the height it would be if a person was wearing it. I froze for a couple of seconds before quickly rushing to get my phone to shine the light on it. By the time I did there was nothing there. Safe to say I was scared out of my mind when I finally worked up the courage to get up to pee. I work for the Department of Corrections in my state in one of the oldest cell blocks in the country. There's a spirit in the 1940s guard uniform that strolls throughout the cell block. Dozens of us have seen him. He had even shown up on camera from time to time, live speed. When we rewind it, he's not there. Recently I saw a UFO fly over my house. At first I thought it was a meteorite, but it wasn't disappearing. In fact, it stayed at the same altitude and flew right over my head, completely silent, and pulsing a bright white light. I watched it fly from one horizon to the other, and then vanish by flying up into the sky. A couple of minutes later, 2 jets were following in its path. I once made a dime completely disappear. I was about 6 to 7 years old and I was trying to practice a magic trick. I put the dime in the middle of a solid wood table with no splits or cracks in it, and no table cover. I placed a tissue over the top of it, and I said abracadabra hocus pocus. I lifted the tissue and it was just gone. There was no noise of it falling on the floor or the table. It was nowhere to be found. When I was walking my dog we passed a field of cows. The gate to the field was secured only with a rope lassoed around a pole. As I passed the gate I saw all the cows using their noses to lift the rope over the pole to open the gate. When they noticed me they all froze and stared at me until I walked past. These cows had escaped this field many times before, and the farmer was convinced someone had been letting them out, when really it was the cows doing it themselves. I farted while I was sitting on the toilet in the evening after having a shower. When I got up I looked at the window, and for a split second I swear I saw "excuse you" written on the window, as young kids do to misted or dusty car windows. When I looked back, all the mist had settled back over the writing, and I couldn't see it anymore. My brother lost his wallet and was retracing his steps looking for it. A homeless man approached him at a coffee shop and said to him, "Don't worry, it's in the bathroom sink. Your wallet is in your bathroom sink." Later that night he did indeed find his wallet at home in the bathroom sink. A few days later, he saw the same homeless man and thanked him for his help. The guy became really irritated and told my brother he had never seen him before. I saw Bart Simpson washing his face in someone's house while I was sitting in my dad's car. I was walking home one night with my brother and a friend. All of a sudden, there was a streak across the sky, a distant boom, and the whole sky lit up fluorescent green. I brought it up with my brother a couple years ago and he doesn't remember it. A learner driver in a Ferrari. A giant. This guy's feet were as long as a pillow, and his hands made a newspaper look small. My friends think I exaggerated how large he was. I don't. One time I saw a reasonable feminist. One time when I was playing billiards with a friend, the cue ball passed right through one of the other balls like one of them was made of thin air. We both saw it, we both freaked out. For reference, the cue ball was teetering on the edge of a pocket, and was physically blocked off by the other ball. There was no possible way to strike the cue ball without hitting the other ball, yet somehow, the cue ball went through it like it wasn't even there. When I was around 8 years old I was on vacation in Europe and I was at the zoo with my cousin, and she got me some helium shark balloon. When we were getting into the car I let go of the balloon for some reason, and watched it float away into the sky. Devastated, I tried to forget all about it. About 2 weeks later I continued my vacation and went to my mom's village about 700 kilometers away. The first day in my mom's family home we go for a walk around the property, and in the corner of the field I see it. My shark balloon floated into my very own backyard to find me again. When I was about 10 or 11 we were having a get together at grandma's house for the holidays. All of us cousins played all day, and when night fell we played hide and seek. While the adults smoked and drank up by the house, we stayed on the back of the property just having a good time. I was hiding in between a bush and the property fence when I heard the strangest sound. It was almost a scream, both happy and miserable at the same time. I jumped up and kinda shouted. All my cousins heard it, and we all saw it too. It was an animal on 2 legs, and it ran off with really jerky motions. Being the oldest by about 3 years, I calmed down the crying little ones and explained as best I could that it was just someone trying to scare us. I've had nightmares about that sound. In my mind it seems a grotesque mimicry of our joyous screams and laughter as we played.